Rest of the day's news. Well, it was a project drawn up by the last Labour government, but today the Shadow Chancellor Ed Balls says if he has his way, the HS2 high-speed rail link might not get off the drawing board. That's ruffled a few feathers on his own side, with one Labour council leader describing it as a cheap shot. But divisions over policy are probably the least of their worries, because rancour over a memoir from Gordon Brown's erstwhile aide, Damon McBride, is continuing to somewhat overshadow proceedings at Labour's annual conference. Our political editor, Gary Gibbon, reports from Brighton.
Labour's twin missions this week to try to make an offer to voters with eye-catching policies and try to win back credibility as managers of the economy. So Ed Balls, the Shadow Chancellor, warned of cuts and tax rises that he wouldn't be able to reverse if he came to power. And he warned of further rises in the pension age too.
Delivering our Labour goals will be harder than at any time any of us can remember.
And one victim could be Labour's support for HS2, the high-speed north-south rail link. The party's talking about having serious doubts about the whole idea. Having tried to buff up his credentials for taking tough decisions, Ed Balls then said how he'd spend some money on childcare.
For the first time, parents able to work part-time without having to worry at all about the costs of childcare. That's what we mean by making work pay.
Ed Balls says he'd raise another £800 million a year out of the bank levy and use it to expand the number of hours free childcare given to people in work where the children are 3 to 4 from 15 hours a week to 25.
We're a bit short on sand.
The existing 15 hours of childcare is free to all parents. The new extra 10 hours proposed by Ed Balls would only be available where both parents or the single parent work. At this Brighton creche, they don't relish carrying out a work test on parents, but the policy is cutting through.
I would say this offer definitely catches my eye as a parent and as a nursery owner.
On the deficit, do you trust Labour?
It's very difficult for me to make a judgment. I'd be really wary, definitely.
15 hours a week just isn't enough. 25 hours would make a great difference to my family.
And could it change the way you vote?
Yeah, it would make a difference, yes.
Even as Ed Balls basked in applause in the hall, an old ghost from his past stalked the shoreline outside.
Okay, no filming, thank you very much.
Damon McBride worked side by side with Ed Balls for Gordon Brown for years. His new memoirs admit to relentless smearing and character assassination. Ed Balls today claimed he knew absolutely nothing about it all until he read the serialisation in a newspaper.
I was wondering why the timing of all of this right now. Well, we just thought Adam could possibly answer some of these questions. Ed Balls says he didn't know what you were doing. Did Ed Balls know what you were doing?
I think we're due to do TV tomorrow, so yeah. I think we'll...
Can you just answer that question? Did Ed Balls know what you were doing?
Sorry, there's no comment. We're not doing any more interviews now.
I'm in the middle of an interview with Newsnight at the moment. So.
BBC Minders steered Damon McBride away from other broadcasters. An old rival blamed Gordon Brown himself for Damon McBride's brutal methods.
He did have, I think, this weakness of surrounding himself with people who had a nastiness to their politics that damaged us all. And
Ed Balls is saying he didn't know what was going on. It just doesn't hold together, does it?
Well, you might say that. I couldn't possibly comment.
It all matters because the Labour Party's top ranks are still peppered with people this man plotted with or did down. And because the leadership is running out of big moments to connect with voters not yet convinced it's worth putting them back in power.
And Gary joins me now. Well, Gary, is this spattering of policy announcements actually going to do Labour any good?
They hope so. They think they're pulling off the balancing trick that they've set themselves this week, which is trying to get through to voters that there is what in horrible political strategist jargon is called a retail offer, a policy that would actually affect your everyday lives. They're getting those across, they hope. 2 more big ones tomorrow, I'm told, from Ed Miliband. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those was about housing. Their other big message is that you can trust us. We can run the economy, and they hope they're getting stuff across there. The little side dish that slightly surprised today, most people didn't see coming, was that Ed Balls chose his moment to slightly dampen down expectations that he might give wholesale support to HS2, the high-speed rail link. People scratching their heads a bit about that. Leadership insisting there's no division between Ed Miliband and Ed Balls on this. There's certainly a division with Lord Adonis, who was brought in especially by Ed Miliband to look at infrastructure projects and is passionate about this one.
But is anyone listening to any of this politics?